the 2000. So at this time, I'd like to call the September 26, 2022 Palm Springs Parks and Recreation Commission meeting to order at 5:35 p.m. Can we start with the roll call, please?
Okay, commissioners, when I call your name, please indicate if you are present. Chair Alcorn,
Present.
Vice Chair Coladonato is excused. Commissioner Crawford,
Present.
Commissioner Diaz,
Present.
Commissioner Finland,
Present.
Commissioner Meyer,
Present.
Commissioner Moralia, and Commissioner Spellman. Okay, we have a quorum with Commissioners Coladonato, Moralia, and Spellman excused.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So can we get a report of the posting of the agenda, please?
So the agenda was posted last week on Wednesday, September 21st, in accordance with our public meeting posting requirements.
Thank you, ma'am. Can I get an approval of the minutes? Has everybody had a chance to look over the minutes from our last meeting?
Yes, I'll put forth a motion for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Finland. Can I get a second?
I'll second that. I'll second that.
Can we get a roll call vote on that?
Chair Alcorn,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawford,
I'll abstain as I wasn't present at last meeting.
Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
Commissioner Finland,
Yes.
Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
and I believe those are all members present this evening.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. So this next section is set aside for public comments. It is open for our public to comment on any concerns. You have a 2-minute time limit, so please be aware of that. Do we have anybody in queue for our public comment? 3 minutes. I apologize. It's 3 minutes, everybody, not 2. I'm trying to cut everybody short.
All right, we are checking to see if we have anyone waiting for public comment.
I do not have anyone as a participant or public comments at this moment.
All right. Did all the commissioners, did you guys receive the correspondence via email from the public for comment?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. So with no public comments at this point, we're going to move ahead to the director's report.
Okay, thank you, Chair Alcorn. So like at our last meeting, what I'm going to do is I will use this item on the agenda to provide you with some updates about some of the projects and programs and activities that we've been working on. So first, I wanted to start with our Parks and Rec items that went to City Council since our last commission meeting back on July 25th. So for this one, on September 1st, we brought forward an item to council to formally accept the grant that we received for the swim center. So way back in April, we had applied for a grant to acquire 10 competitive starting blocks to replace our old equipment at the swim center. And the grant from the Anderson Children's Fund in the amount of $38,764 is going to allow us the ability to procure 10 new starting blocks for the swim center. So we've already started the procurement process. We anticipate installation will be just in a few months, and these starting blocks will be fabricated with our logo on them as well. So we are really excited for this upgrade to the swim center. Also, at the September 1st City Council meeting, we submitted our overseeding plan for grass in our parks. So a little bit of background here. So typically in September of each year, we begin the overseeding process, which typically goes from September through November. The process of overseeding grass requires more frequent watering in order for the seeds to germinate. Because we are under a level 2 emergency regulations regarding water usage, the city had to request special permission from the Desert Water Agency to do the necessary daytime watering in our parks. So on August 17th, we presented our plan to the Desert Water Agency, and they approved what's called a conservation alternative plan. So this agenda item that went to council was for our 2022 plan for overseeding our parks to show those recreational areas, those recreational grassy areas that would be reseeded this fall. I also want to mention, related to this topic is a larger project that dates back to 2015, which involves converting some of our green spaces in our parks into drought-tolerant landscaping as part of a comprehensive water reduction strategy for the city. So later on today's agenda, it's presentation item A. We'll begin to talk more about the phases and implementation of that specific project. But what went to council on September 1st was the overseeding plan to basically designate that we were going to be using water during a sort of restricted time period. Okay, switching gears, I want to share what we have programmed at some of our facilities. So for the leisure center this fall, we remained focused on our youth programs. We've got Pee Wee Rec and FKO after school programs Monday through Friday. We've also programmed the facility with some instructor-led classes for our community. So we've got tap dance on Mondays, we've got Aikido on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and yoga is offered 6 days a week. So lots of fun things to do at the leisure center. Over at the swim center, we have open swim 7 days a week for the public to use the pool. And for those who like classes, we have instructor-led water aerobics 3 days a week. Those are Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Of course, the swim center is home to our 2 competitive swim clubs. They use our facility year-round for their swim meets. A fun special event that we're working on right now is on Saturday, October 22nd. Parks and Rec staff are planning our annual floating pumpkin patch event. So if you've not attended this one in the past, this one's really exciting. Participants can basically go in the pool, they can get a floating pumpkin, take it out of the pool, and then go to one of our adjacent table areas where they can decorate the pumpkin. There'll also be sort of music, games, and crafts. So for that one right now, we're planning that for Saturday, October 22nd. Really fun. At James O. Jesse, we've got our fall season of health and wellness activities. We've got the workout gym open Mondays through Fridays. We have indoor pickleball from 9 to 1, Mondays through Fridays. We've also continued drill team and drum squad classes on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And for something new, on Tuesday nights, we have adult basketball play, which is led by the Parks and Rec staff. And then, of course, we've got crew come ride with us, continuing on the 2nd and 4th Fridays of the month. Also, still at JOJ, for some of our fall educational activities, we've launched after school homework help program. So Mondays through Thursdays, our staff is on site to assist students with their homework. For those who are 50 and over, we have our mature adult program on Wednesdays, and that's from 10 to 12. We also relaunched for the fall the Youth Encouragement Program, and that is falling on Thursdays from 4 to 6. That program is for students 5th grade through 12th grade and includes guest speakers, discussions, and field trips. For those interested in knitting and sewing, we have classes on Fridays. We also have the computer lab available for the community Monday through Fridays from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. For special events coming up, on October 14th, we have developed a really fun back to school dance event for grades 5 through 9. There'll be live music, snacks, there'll be like kind of fun selfie photo spots. And I think this one will have a small admission fee. I believe it is $3 in advance. So lots going on at James O. Jesse. For Demuth, our staff is teaching 2 different art classes. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have Art Factory, and then on Fridays, we have the Art of Crafting, and that one is for adults. Also at Demuth, we have a number of instructor-led health and wellness offerings for our community. We have weekly karate classes, Mondays through Thursdays for children and adults. We have boxing classes, Mondays through Fridays. We have a morning fitness class offered Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, with the Saturday session being fun, and that one's sort of outside, an outside fitness class for those who want to be outside. We also have the workout gym open each week, Monday through Friday from 9 to 5:30, and we have ping pong. So for those who are interested in using a ping pong table Mondays through Fridays, that's available for drop-ins as well. And one of the things that we're really trying to do at our centers is to just make sure that we really have a variety and diversity of types of activities that we're offering. So also this month at Demuth, we've launched 3 different special family events on Friday nights, and those are all in honor and recognition of National Hispanic Heritage Month. All of these events are free. The next one is coming up this Friday, actually, September 30th, which is a family paint party. Okay, let's jump over to the skate park. We have several special events, including skate camps as well as holiday camps. Coming up on October 14th, they will hold a Halloween event at the skate park. And then on Sunday, October 23rd, the Skate Center is working on a special anniversary event in celebration of their 9th anniversary here. So that's also really exciting. And then we'll have more details as they work them out for that specific anniversary celebration. Okay, so now let's shift gears and see what we've been building. So we've got some updates for capital improvement activities. I am happy to report that our new restroom facility has opened up at Demuth Park. It opened up just earlier this month in September. And I've got some photos to show you as well. This facility features the 5 stalls with 1 ADA stall. And then we also have the 3 hand washing stations, as well as a drinking fountain. Over at Desert Highland, our restrooms were also completed and opened up earlier in September. Click here, show you some more slides. Similar setup, it's got the 5 stalls, again with the 3 hand washing stations and the drinking fountain. Just a slightly different color palette there with the purple drinking fountain. So another just great asset for our communities. Also at James O. Jesse, our game room received an amazing refresh earlier this month. And this one, we have to thank the Palm Springs Fire Foundation. So they donated their time as well as their resources to repaint the game room, as well as provide a pool table. Click through there so you can see that. So I know our staff and our users of the facility are really excited with this refresh. Pavilion acoustics. So our new acoustic system has been installed at the pavilion. And this new sound system will really enable us to enhance our facility by making it a more desirable venue for the community. Over to the Palm Springs Swim Center. So back in March of 2021, the city approved a contract for Prop 68 funds for the swim center. So under that project, with that funding, we are procuring and installing 2 new large-scale sunshades to help keep the pool deck area cool. The Prop 68 funds are approximately $130,000 to complete this project. Over the summer, our grant, our permit was approved. So we've already started the fabrication process. In terms of timeline, we anticipate the installation of the shade structures will occur in the next few months. And right now I would probably estimate that to be finished in October or November. What you're looking at here on the screen right now is just the conceptual rendering. And you can see the one shade structure there at the foot of the pool or at the deep end. And then just again, another conceptual rendering of the sunshade that is over by the kids sort of area of the pool. So we are excited to have the project completed. And then one last thing I just wanted to mention for updates, we're hiring. So right now we have 2 openings right now for lifeguards. These positions are posted on the city's website. If you can help us sort of get the word out, I've got our city website there. You just go to the HR section, which lists all of the city's recruitments. But these 2 specifically for us are near and dear to make sure that we can sort of get our staffing levels up to where they need to be. In terms of, so that's it for my report for today. In terms of future reports, I will continue to give you those updates on our programs and our activities that we have in motion, as well as continue to do deeper dives into our capital improvement projects. And that concludes my report for today.
Awesome, Yvonne. Thank you so much. Quick question for the host. Can we let in John? And we also have our Public Arts Commission. The gentleman is on, and so is Conserve too, waiting for our next sections.
Absolutely. Okay, let's get that done.
Gary and Brent.
I've been having difficulty trying to get John in promoted as a panelist. I've tried several times to promote him, so.
Okay, let's just take a quick technology break, and I'm going to try to do it as well.
Thank you.
And I
ladies.
don't really mean break. I just, I'm going to try to, let's see if I can get everyone in.
I'm now here.
Oh,
Thank you.
fabulous. No thanks to me.
Yay.
Now let's see if we can get Gary and Brent in here as well, so we can get the.
Okay, let's see.
I really should have been doing this on a laptop, not my iPad.
Okay, let me just check. Public Art Commissioner Armstrong, are you with us now? Oh,
I
perfect.
am.
There you are. I see you. Fabulous. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
There's Gary.
And
Yeah, look at
Brent,
it.
I'm here,
okay, we've
Conserve.
got you with us too. Perfect.
Awesome. Okay, at this time, everybody, it looks like everybody has joined our Zoom and we're all on the same link right now. So we're going to go on to our presentation action items. Let's start with our presentation number 1, which is Parks Landscape and Conserve. So Brent, I apologize. I got a Brent in my family. Brent, if you would go ahead and take the lead, sir.
Okay, so I was, Yvonne, I believe you have the slides that you're going to scroll through. So I would say a month and a half ago, we had a meeting with Tabitha and Heather with the city. They informed us of the plans that you guys have to convert most of your parks to desert landscaping. There's going to be portions of the parks that will still be scalped and overseeded. And then there's going to be sections surrounding primarily the areas that you're going to be scalping and overseeding this year that you guys are going to leave dormant. And then there's other sections that are slated to be converted from grass or turf to desert landscape. So Tabitha asked me if we could just put 2 proposals together and put some planting plans to 2 different parks just for this meeting. So that's what we've done. We've put together a planting plan and a proposal for both the Baristo Park and the Francis Stevens Park. So the first one you're looking at here looks like Francis Stevens.
Let
This,
me jump ahead for you, Brent. There we
okay.
go.
Oh, Baristo Park. Okay, Baristo Park is the first one we're looking at. So I'm not sure if any of you guys were able to see this prior to it being up on the screen. So this is our first attempt. We recently converted 4 different parkways throughout the city. So we got some feedback from, I believe, Ken Lyons, what the city would like to see as far as planting, gravel, different hardscapes, trees at the different parks. So this is our first attempt. We have in-house designers that put this plan together. So you can see the plant palette down at the bottom of the type of plants that we are suggesting, the different hardscape materials, the boulders, the DG, which are cobble. So if you look at the typical landscape architect plans, you can see the symbols that represent each plant, and then you can see the size, the quantity, and so forth and so on. So that's basically, I think there's 2 pages. Yep. So I know this is probably the first you guys are seeing this, so I don't expect any questions. But if anybody has questions about this, you're more than welcome to, if you have access to these, or you can shoot me an email and email them to you so you can further look into the details of each of these plans and proposals.
Okay. Thank you very much, Brent.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You have more on it, sir? I'm sorry.
So then we're moving to the Francis Stevens, and again, you can see the plant palette and the hardscape material that we're proposing with that plant legend, which identifies the different size plants, the trees, the quantity of each, and then this is, I believe, 6 pages or 7 pages because it's taking sections at a time because it's so detailed. This Francis Stevens Park has like these small little pocket sections within the grass area and like the sidewalks and the streetscape.
Cool. It looks cool, and I'm pretty excited for this. My only comment: we're going to be having a subcommittee for this, for the reseeding, or for doing this with working with you guys in the city.
Mm-hmm.
My comment, like when we did around the pavilion, is when we have our negative rock, the larger rock, to not have it right against the edge. We have it inside the scape, so that way kids and people don't trip on it.
Gotcha. And feel free to, look over these plans, and if there's plants or hardscape or different, like the Southwest Brown, if you guys choose to not go with the Southwest Brown and you would prefer some other type of gravel, or like you say, not having the larger cobble right up adjacent to the buildings, or there's certain type of plants on this palette that you definitely want to stay away from, we are open. This, like I said, this was just our first attempt at putting a design together in a short amount of time for Tabitha so that we could present this to the committee.
No, it looks great. Very much so. Looks great. Thank you, sir. Is there any other questions or comments for Brent on this? Anybody? We have a pretty short timeline here to work with this on too, to get this all accomplished within our needed time. So we're gonna have to hit the ground running pretty hard on this, everybody. But I think this is a very doable, capable project we can get done.
This is a comment that's actually leading into what I'm talking about. And we're, Brent, I'm in the Public Arts Commission. I'm the vice chair of the commission. And we're actually going to be reciting a lot of our public art because of the fact that they've been deteriorated through landscaping issues and they need to be replaced. And some of them that we're talking about are in Francis Stevens and some of the other parks. So I ask again publicly that you involve the Public Arts Commission on these things. So for example, Sunrise Park has 13 pieces of public art, and I know you guys are working on that. Francis Stevens has, I believe, 3 or 4 right now. And we're going to be moving some of them because they're improperly cited, quite frankly. And I'll be talking about one of those in my presentation when you're done.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So having said that, I'm not sure who my point of contact will be going forward, if it's going to be Tabitha or you, Yvonne. We'll definitely be willing to work with any other committees, set up on-site meetings to further discuss. And they want to help improve the look of the parks throughout the city. And we want to do it in a way that represents the city of Palm Springs and can serve as a company. So.
Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen. Yeah, when we go to do it, Gary, if you have somebody that's available that's willing to get onto our subcommittee, I will reach out and we all can communicate and work together. That would be great.
That'd be wonderful, Jerry. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So is there any other comments for Brent right now for the conserved landscape, for the landscape being changed over? I know these are just preliminary drawings. We got a few months we're gonna be working on this, but like we got to hit the ground running on this to fall in our timeline.
And if I can make one last comment, we have already started, I think, the process. We have, I believe, 3 or 4, maybe 5 parks that we've begun scalping on the highlighted map that you guys had approved from the city council and that was presented to DWA at this point.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that too, by the way. We appreciate that.
Yep.
With that being said, if I don't see any hands raised, no other comments. So once again, Brent, I'm going to say thank you very much, sir. And we're going to move on to our next presentation from the Public Arts Commission, an awesome gentleman, Gary.
Hey, thank you, Jerry. And I believe Yvonne has my stuff. Yeah, here.
Absolutely.
The first piece that we're going to be talking about is a John Clemente piece, which is split throughout the city in 3 different areas, but it was always intended to be together. I don't know why it was split. The one in front of Regal Cinemas, which is the orange one at the bottom, which is no longer orange, it's like flesh colored. That's on private property, which is, I don't like to do. And then the red one is in front of Trio, and that one has been hit by trucks 3 times. And then the yellow one is in front of the Arts Community Center on Francis Stevens Park. And again, it's completely faded. And I personally think it's a little congested there as well. So what we are recommending is we want to put them together. And part of our discussions with previous city council has been they want to see more art away from downtown in the public parks. And so we looked at a couple of the different parks, what could handle this one, because it is a big piece and it needs a lot of space around it together. And we found a space in Demuth Park that we think would be great. And you can see the little map there. It's right off Mesquite between a little parking lot, and it's between the community center. And it's also, it'll be highly visible from where the CB link is going to be. And so we think it'll be good for drivers, good for people there, and it's by a parking lot, and it's a nice isolated little islet, if you will, that our only request is that the grass be removed. And since that's part of the plan anyway, I don't think that'll be an issue. And you can see down below, there's a little facsimile of what it would look like with the red, the yellow, and the orange together. So two of our challenges and chores moving ahead are we want to, as I said, we want to recite some of the artwork so it will be better preserved. And we want to recite it so it can be properly photographed. As you've heard me say many times, we are in an Instagram generation. And the more we can present public art in Palm Springs as a beautiful vista of Palm Springs, the more people are apt to take a photo of it and then promote it on their social feed, and they become ambassadors for Palm Springs. So that's our one intent with that one. So this one, as I said, when we do these reorienting and re-care of the work, we cover all the costs on that. So once city council approves this, it'll probably be a 3 to 4 month process because they need to be all taken back to a shop and cleaned up. There's a lot of water damage on them, and they need to be repainted and powder coated and then placed within the park. Are there any questions on that?
Muted. I'm muted. I was talking the whole time. So if I got to say something here, honestly, Gary, I love where you guys want to place it. I think we need to get together with staff and have, with our landscape committee, I think that would be a kind of a home run right there. That's a perfect area. Like you said, CV Link coming in, we can get rid of the grass anyways. It's kind of a win-win all the way around, and it
Yeah.
helps you locate them all together. I think that's a very smart move. So from me to you guys, I really like this. But like I said, I think we need to get together with staff and everybody, so everybody's on the same page.
Yeah.
And we get this accomplished. But I think this is a really good, really good fit.
So, well, that's great. Thanks. And as I said, and I think I mentioned this at the Joint Commission meeting, that, you know, we're attempting to use the art to help to create an identity for each of the parks. You know, the parks have created their own identity on their own, but we just need to let people know about this. And to me, you know, at one point we talked about grouping these all together in Francis Stevens, but they felt congested to me there. And they're very playful, and they sort of scream kids and family to me. And that's why I thought Demuth Park would be great for that. And they're energetic, and there's already the primary color geometric metal pieces in Demuth Park, which I think they will visually look great together. So if we're creating this identity as fun and family and activity, I think it's a win. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Great. And then the other one that I wanted to mention was, you know, we had originally had another piece on the agenda, and then to do in the it's not really a park across from the convention center. And the gentleman there was talking us through it and how they're changing that area, and they've got some funds for Measure J, and they're going to be changing that. And I just want to repeat my request that the Parks Commission engage the Arts Commission when you're making strategic plans like this. As I said, for Sunrise Park, we have 13 pieces of public art in there, and they're not all properly cited. We may move some of them. And as you make your strategic changes on these parks, you know, please engage us. The other one is Francis Stevens. And we'd actually, again, I talked about this at the Joint Commission, and we want to start putting artwork in there that is very socially active. And this sort of dawned on us during the time when the George Floyd mural happened downtown. And, you know, there's a lot of public unrest, and the Floyd mural went up. I personally thought it was a great mural in a terrible location. It was on private property, and it was temporary property. And so because it was put up using public arts funds, the city could not maintain it, and the city cannot remove it because it was private property. So what we want to do is find a way to create this social voice in a park environment. We don't quite have the answer to that yet, but I think that there's a couple different approaches to that too. You know, there's long-term social voices of civil rights and climate change and, you know, equality issues and human rights issues. And then there's proactive seasonal ones as well that we're considering, like Breast Cancer Awareness Month or Sexual Assault Awareness Month or Autism Awareness Month. And then there is more immediate ones that are reactive. For example, with the Roe v. Wade change, and a lot of people were wanting to make their message heard. I don't think that needs to be a full-time piece of artwork, but it could be a temporary one for maybe for a month or something like that. And hopefully this will become release valves for people and to show what Palm Springs represents. So as I said, we don't have anything beyond this is a strategy at this point. We don't know how we're going to accomplish it, and we don't know what it will look like. But this is just what we're thinking. The reason why we think Francis Stevens is appropriate is whenever there's a rally, it starts in Francis Stevens Park. And so let's give those people representation in the park. So if we can do that for Palm Springs, in the heart of Palm Springs, in this park right there, I think it would be great, because as I said, that's where everybody meets.
Awesome. We'll work together with you guys. Like I said, we got the landscape starting over there. We got a
Yeah.
lot of stuff on, so we'll work together closely to get this done in a timely
Great.
manner. Great.
Yeah. As I said, we have a couple other pieces that we're trying to find appropriate places for. So if you see me driving around the parks, you know, don't call the police on me. I'm just looking for locations for artwork. One of the pieces that we want to find a great home for a permanent art is Popsicles, which is a piece that is on Sunny Dunes Road, and it's on a lot that the owner has leased to us to put the artwork up. And it's actually the most Instagram piece in Palm Springs. It's more Instagram than Maryland.
Oh,
So,
wow.
as I said, we want to find a great place for that. The challenge is it is a one-sided piece of artwork, and it has survived very nicely because it's been facing north. So if we can find something a place that faces north that has nothing really, like if it could go to a building or a hedge or something like that, it would be great. Okay.
We will keep that in mind. Yes, yeah, I'd love to see it. That's a great piece. So that'd be awesome to be out there.
Yeah. So, and are there any questions for me? No.
I see we have
Yeah,
Commissioner Crawford.
Yeah, I've got a comment.
Sure.
Just want to say I like the idea of the arts in the park, and just hope the art commission can work with us going forward, because a lot of times this has been really one-sided. It's been more of the art commission coming telling us what they want to see. And then also the second thing, as you mentioned, the plot of land across from the convention center.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see some art there that recognizes what happened on Section 14 with the minority residents being displaced,
Yep.
and paying homage to the original residents that lived on Section 14 where the convention center is today.
And Dieter, thank you. I would put it back on you guys as well to join our arts meetings. You know, it should be, you're right, it should be reciprocal. So come to the meetings, our agendas are posted, and we, feel free to engage. We're pretty nice people, I think. And the convention center, it's not, again, I hate calling it a park, but it is. They do a lot of events there, and we tried to put a piece of artwork there that they didn't want because of the events. And so we're massaging that relationship. But I agree with you. I don't think we should have too precious. I like art that confronts people personally. So I agree. And then I don't know if you guys were at the last arts meeting, but we approved the full budget for the mural at the James O. Jesse Community Center. So that will be moving on to City Council next.
Okay, that's a huge setup.
Yeah.
Good job on that too.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments for Gary?
No. So
Chair Alcorn, can I just, it's not necessarily for Gary, but I did just want to mention because we're talking about a lot of interesting things this evening. And I just wanted to mention that when you're working on, when the Parks and Rec Commission is working on the landscaping conversion plans, I just wanted to point out that Demuth Park is not one of the parks where areas are going to be converted. And that's because Demuth is actually fully on reclaimed water. So it's one of our extraordinary locations, and that is why it has so much grass, because it's running on recycled water right now.
Thank you very much, Yvonne.
that's interesting.
So with that being, well, which is good, because that being said, that's not going to get a conversion. We might be able to get this taken care of and moved along faster.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Great. So and I will now take this to my city staff connection, and he will present this. And we'll let him know that you guys are aware of this project, and he'll write everything up for City Council, and hopefully they'll get this approved quickly, but knowing it will be a 3 to 4 month process to repair, move, and do that. As an aside, that means that there will be an open spot for public art back in front of the Arts Community Center where the yellow squiggle was. The other 2 pieces aren't in your jurisdiction. As I said, one is on private, one's on city property. So the yellow one, we're going to be putting another piece there eventually.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks, guys.
I think we have Commissioner Diaz.
Hello.
Hey, Jody.
Hey. So, yeah, I was just going to comment. I almost feel as though we're back to just being told what's going to happen rather than having that collaboration. So Gary was reaching out to John and myself for a couple of little projects. And then I almost feel as though we were just told what's going to happen. So I don't enjoy that feeling. Somebody's got to get dressed, whoever's talking. I could hear that in the background. Anyway, I just wanted to add that and have that on the record that, I know he's invited us to come to his public arts meetings, but we don't go to public arts and tell public arts that we're going to do such and such. that's not how we operate. So I would just like to reiterate that having that, at least an ad hoc that has conversations before decisions are made. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Jody. I think today, that's one of the things we're gonna be doing is finding some new ad hoc committees as well. And that's one of the issues we'll get taken care of.
But we were doing it and then all of a sudden we weren't. So that's my point.
Sounds good. Understandable. Can I ask you a question? When's the last time you guys met with the arts department? The arts commission?
Gary had asked to meet with John and myself, and we met in person to discuss along the wash there over in Warm Sands area. And that was the last time we had a discussion. That was quite some months back. I don't know if John's on here, but if he can add anything. Oh, I see him. Maybe he can add anything.
No, you're right, Jody. That was the last time we met with him. I want to say that was June because it was hot still. So I want to say June or July.
Okay.
It was
So
before we got to full on summer, I believe. Yeah, like June.
All right. Because this is, I think, the first time they've approached us since we've come back from our hiatus.
And that was a lot of stuff that was just
Thrown out.
put out there. So that's all. Thank you.
No.
Thank you. Thank you. So that's something we all got to be thinking about. I say that the art, and you hear they're pushing, every park has multiple pieces of art. So they're trying to use that as their, we're working back and forth here. We got to be mindful of what's where, how we're doing it. So with this being up, this is something at the end we're gonna have to have a talk about this, what everybody thinks, as well as our staff. I think this is a good fit for our park because these particular art items, like we just got told, it's on reclaimed water. So we don't even got to do the landscape like we do all the other parks. So this one is more up to us if it's something we'd like to do. I feel it's right. It's kind of a great fit, I feel, but it's up to the whole commission as a whole. So with that being said, I'm not trying to stall the meeting. Let's keep going on to item C, which is restriping 2 tennis courts at Ruth Hardy. Have you guys heard all the correspondence today just from that alone? Yes. Which is kind of disheartening because these have all been public meetings we've had via Zoom, and we've let everybody know via, public what's going on. And it's not until we finally come to a decision, we have public comments, which every person in public has a right and has their own comment, which we take into consideration. This one is the restriping of the 2 tennis courts with Hardy, courts 1 and 2. It's not just to benefit one individual person. This is to benefit, as we say, we're all inclusive for all. And this is for, I think, ITA standards, is International Tennis Association standards, which is how this is designed. It's to help youth development of tennis. This is not used for pickleball whatsoever. And they will not be pickleball courts. They will still be 100% tennis courts. We have a pickleball facility. We have pickleball courts. So I hate to hear how that's getting misconstrued through the masses right now, but I want that to be quite clear. This is not a pickleball court. These are just junior tennis courts, what you see here on the our screen. So we'll be adding a couple new stripes that will help for kids, a little smaller courts. They can go lengthwise. They can change it up a couple different ways and play it. So this is what true inclusivity means and shows. It's for everybody, not just one sector. So with that, I'm not trying to throw that out there and get on my soapbox or anything. Anybody have any questions or comments on this one?
Jerry, I have a question.
Sure.
It's Commissioner Meyer.
Yes, ma'am.
I think it's a question for Yvonne, probably. Yvonne, because the striping issue has been going on for like several months, is there like a public repository where like a mission statement or FAQs about a specific project that the Parks and Rec Commission is overseeing? Is there a place where people can go, like the public can go to see this stuff sooner? I'm just thinking of what Jerry was saying, which is that this has been a multi-month issue and people are coming in at the end with their, concerns because it's they're public, they can have valid concerns, but is there a public landing page where our sort of in progress projects can be reviewed or seen by the public at this time?
Yeah, so we don't have that right now, but we absolutely could include that on the city's website, on the Parks and Rec Commission page. We could just sort of have those sort of periodic updates about projects that we're working on and the status of those.
I think that would be really cool, because I think the way that you, even earlier when we were getting the director's report, when you gave us the status updates about the pool or different sort of social things, obviously those are a little bit lighter and have a little bit less controversy, but I think this would be a great way to put this out more in the public so that maybe the people who are sending in the more heated or emotionally motivated correspondence may have a little bit more time to look about what we're doing so they don't feel blindsided, even though we feel like we've given adequate opportunities to see this information and make their opinions known.
Great.
We'll make that note, try to get that on there. Thank you, Susie, as always.
And I see we have Commissioner Moralia too.
Yes, sir, John.
So I am a tennis player, and I can tell you that some of the comments I read were a little disconcerting, to say the least. There's no way that if you're a tennis player and the courts are restriped for youth play, that it's going to distract you. The issue really is the person who wants this is somebody who teaches lessons and makes money off of the public courts. Now, I understand she pays a fee to do that, but I think that's where people's problem is. Like, are we essentially saying we're going to restripe these courts so this person can use them to make money for herself? Now, granted, she's a very nice person. She's in it for the right reasons, to promote tennis to our youth so that they stay engaged in tennis as they grow up. I get that. But that, I think, is the core of the issue is, are we as a commission saying we're going to restripe these courts so you can teach classes and make money on a public tennis court?
That's no bueno.
It's no bueno, but like I said, I'm a tennis player. You could stripe them for youth play. I'm not a youth, so I know where the line is that I need to hit the ball.
Yeah. Thank you. I value that opinion very much so. Thank you, John. Michael, I see your hands up too, sir.
Yes, I just wanted to chime in and say I read through the emails that were sent to Parks and Recreation, and there's nothing covert going on as far as trying to slip in some additional pickleball courts. Just to echo what you had said a few moments ago, this has been a project that's been a work in progress for some time, and it's really for the benefit of the tennis community. It's for the next generation. It's for children. And I don't see where the perception is that this is really going to diminish or take away from tennis at all. If anything, it's expanding upon it. And I guess I'm just kind of surprised at this stage of the game. Presentation was done quite a while back where this idea was put forth. We had a discussion, we've done assessment, we've done analysis, and now it's so late. We're ready to take the next giant step with the project, and all of a sudden it's, well, of course, people are entitled to their opinion, but there's a lot of hostility coming forward. And it seems to somehow be linked into to pickleball. And really, this entity, this project, this idea has nothing to do with pickleball. So I just wanted to share my thoughts and my perception, just to have people rest assured we're not looking to diminish or take away courts or minimize courts or lessen the number of courts. Certainly, I'm understanding, having lived in the community for a number of years, that many people from across the US and from other countries come to our area to take part and participate and enjoy the wonderful wintertime weather that we have, and to play tennis. And not to sound like a broken record, but if anything, this will enhance tennis and it'll be for the benefit of children. And the points of the other commissioners, they're all well taken, and I'm in accord with that.
Thank you, Michael. My only comment on this whole thing, I see anybody, my hand up, whose hand's up? My only comment is, whose?
Commissioner Meyer.
Meyer, thank you. Susie, go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. And I think Michael has his hand up. My question is really short. Is there a way that we could basically distill the concern that this is basically public funding for privatized interests by putting into the curriculum for youth with the Parks and Recs Commission or the Parks and Recs programs, youth tennis lessons, like the way that they have tap dancing lessons and things like that? I don't know, Yvonne, if that's an option, but just trying to capitalize on the fact that there would be specific striping that would benefit children. Maybe we can add a program or several programs, even in the winter program or the summer programs, just to legitimize. Because I agree with what everyone has been saying. I think there is a compelling public interest for being able to show children how to play this sport, but maybe having receipts to show that would put some of these people's minds at ease that this is just public funding being used for a private purpose.
Thank you. I see. Thank you, Susie. Very good. I think, just a quick comment. I'm not trying, I think she's a grassroots nonprofit program too. So I don't know how she's benefiting. I'm not trying to throw that out there, but it's something that people need to know too. I see Dieter has his hands up.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same thing as I've been saying over and over. I don't understand why Ruth Hardy is exclusively for tennis. How can we be a city that prides ourselves on inclusion and diversity, but only when it fits certain people's agendas? Like, I just don't get that. We should make all the courts multi-purpose with pickleball lines and tennis lines. The gym at James O. Jesse is currently used for pickleball and tennis. We've been using it for 30 years for basketball. We didn't complain about the pickleball lines coming in. They come take over our gym for half of the morning. So I don't understand why Ruth Hardy is only for tennis. I think we need to restripe all the courts to be multi-sport.
Very good point. Very good point. It's called being adults. You know what I mean? So my biggest thing with the herd.
Learn how to share. It's called learning how to share.
We've requested that several times. That is what Dieter just stated. I know I personally have stated that more than one time about these courts. They do it in the gyms where the kids play the high school sports, or they're marked for every sport on the floor, and the kids manage to figure it out.
I agree, Jody. John, I see your hands up, sir. I'm trying to slide through and see everybody. I'm sorry if I miss you.
No, it's fine. Part of I think why the tennis players at Ruth Hardy are upset, and trust me, I play tennis there, right? So I'm aware of what's happening, is because years ago we said we were going to make Ruth Hardy for tennis and Demuth for pickleball. Here's the big difference, right? So some of the tennis people are a little less welcoming, let's say, right? I'm trying to be as PC as I can here. So they are a little less welcoming. But also, if you are a true tennis player, the net height of a tennis court and a pickleball court is not the same. So when you have a place like Ruth Hardy, that means you have to then change the net. And so then what are you going to do? If you're a pickleball player, are you going to go in, change the net height, and when you leave, are you going to change it back to tennis? Or are you going to tell the tennis players to do that? So I think that's part of why there's this lack of camaraderie, if you will. I completely understand with all of you because I actually do play both tennis and pickleball. So I'm with you that it should be all inclusive, but I get why there's a disconnect there. I don't know what the messaging needs to be. It probably needs to be something like, can't we all share the public facilities? I mean, that's kind of the reason for public parks and recreation, right?
Yep.
I don't know how you get that out there to this tennis community. I know that they are vocal and, like I said, not always accommodating to everybody else. That's the best way I can say it. And I do play there, so I see it.
Thank you for the insight, John. Any other questions on this one? Like I said, my standings on it, she doesn't make any money off the program. It's a nonprofit grassroots. It's to help benefit the whole community, you know, and we're not doing all the courts, just two. So for this item, it's more of a discussion. I mean, this is just, we've got it approved through City Hall. I mean, she's taken all the steps. She's gone above and beyond, gotten pricing, approached us, came to the meetings. I mean, at this point, I'm 100% for it because we've asked for multiple things. She has come to meetings. She has gone above and beyond, proven that it is a needed aspect we need here in the city. And I feel as a Parks and Recreation, especially, you know, we're not the same city we were 5 years ago. We're not the same city we were 3 years ago. We're always changing, evolving. You know, we're getting ready to build a $2 million pickleball facility. Nobody's getting left out. We're always changing. So once the demand gets there, we'll address it. I mean, that's, get involved with your civic duty. I mean, come volunteer for a commission. People, I mean, you guys want to help change, come involved with the commission. That's what it comes down to. So for this, I'm not trying to be rude or mean here. What does everybody think about this one? I mean, we've heard the different comments, but like I said, I'm 100% for it. I think we should go ahead with it. You know, we need to move this forward and get it taken care of. First hand up I see is John. I'm just going down the screen, guys.
I'm all for it too, because I love tennis and I want kids to also love tennis and play for the rest of their lives. I think the biggest question will be if it's courts 1 and 2, right? I think that's what it is.
Yes, sir.
So are they going to designate a certain time when she can do her lessons? Because I think currently she does have certain times that she reserves the courts for. So I think if that's posted and everybody knows that, come on, there's 6 other courts, figure it out. So I'm with you. I'm a 100% in.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Any burning desires here?
Just to say that I'm in accord, Jerry, with your perspective.
Thank you, sir. All right. Well, I'm not trying to bulldoze everybody or trying to get this done, but I'm trying to move the meeting along. So at this point, I think as a commission, we all full-heartedly agree with this one. And then, like I said, she's done the footwork, she's done the steps. I'll take the full blame from the community for this one. If they get mad, come yell at me all you want. I'll take it. And let's get this done.
Jerry, just want to also bring it to everyone's attention. I brought it up a couple meetings ago.
Yes, sir.
If there does come a shortage with tennis courts, is there some type of way we could figure out how we can work with the school district like we do with the swim center and the track as well? And kind of, because those tennis courts just sit there on the school district property empty on Pavilion Way all day.
Dieter, what you're saying is a great suggestion, and I feel you 100%. We're actually in the process of getting a new liaison for Palm Springs Unified. and the Parks and Recreation Commission, how there used to be one years ago, and we had Ellen for years. Now we're trying to find a new one. Hopefully when we get a new representative, or we have somebody that we can communicate with, I might even just reach out to Ellen and find out, you know, because there's a whole bunch of courts right there. I know exactly the ones you're talking about, you know. It'd be nice if we can have that mutual benefit. Working back and forth with each other, you know, if there ever is a need of more tennis courts, that would be a great solution, honestly. Anything else from anybody on this? Oh, well, what the heck? Why? Okay.
I'm an assistant principal for the school district. I've been an employee, a teacher and an educator for 31 years with the school district. So I don't know how Ellen got labeled that or named that. The first time I heard that was when she stated that towards the end there. So I'm not really sure how that came to be or who originated that or what have you.
Thank you, Jody, for letting me know that, because that is a great representation right there. And we have one on the board already. So we'll have to get that, we'll get that figured out here in the next, I'm going to have to figure it out in the next month or two. Because I mean, I know I've heard about where it came up, and there was, you know, like I said, once again, times change, stuff changes, you know. And
I
we're
believe that they've closed the tracks to the track is closed to the public now for liability reasons. And I'm assuming that is going to be the same thing with the tennis courts. However, we could, you know, start to approach that conversation and just see.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that guidance, Jody. See, there's an insider track right there. Bam. There's our liaison. Thank you, ma'am. Any other thing on this one? No, I've seen a whole bunch of heads nodding. So are we all in agreement with this one? I mean, we've all agreed on it already. So she's done her footwork. We're just letting everybody know that it's being restriped, you know, courts 1 and 2.
So we can follow up with a timeline for that.
Thank you, ma'am. I got some spray paint. I'll go out there and do it all up. So with that being said, our next thing is a action item. We got to select some ad hoc committees. We have we've met and we've tried to streamline and get our ad hoc committees down to a point where something we have what's coming up in the future, not just stagnant. We're trying to have ones that'll continue working together and move forward, not just be left out or have no opinion. So we really want to focus on these different commission or ad hoc committees. We have our art in the park right now, you know, which thank you, Jody. But even on these commissions, I want everybody to realize we need to have a bigger voice too. These are important, and, you know, let's take them. So on this, we got art in the park as Jody and John. Do you two want to stay on the art commission? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I know you guys didn't get brought into this last conversation. I was kind of blindsided by it as well. But this is something you guys can definitely work with the art commission and city staff on. And that's our biggest thing, is we want to report back to city staff and all be on the same page with what's going on and how we're trying to move stuff forward.
So what we're proposing is these are the 7 ad hocs that we currently have. We're proposing that we sort of narrow the focus into 5 ad hocs for this next fiscal year. And your sort of, you know, volunteer time on these ad hocs will help us advance some of our sort of core projects right now. So we're proposing that an ad hoc be set up for landscape conversion. So that's related to the project with a very short sort of turnaround time that we need to get completed for council. The dog park, and the dog park specifically because we have interim funding to do interim enhancements, as well as funding to do a larger dog park at Demuth. The master plan We have $100,000 set aside to kick off our comprehensive park master plan process, which is really critical, I think, for us to be able to figure out where we should be building and what we should be building. It'll sort of help us, instead of taking a piecemeal approach to programming and planning our spaces, a planned and thoughtful strategy. Pickleball, same thing there. We have funding right now for the expansion of pickleball courts at Demuth. And then we're also requesting volunteers to serve on a park enhancement subcommittee, and park enhancements could include shade structures, art, new equipment, and things like that. Again, this is just sort of, our staff sort of proposal for the ad hocs that we think would potentially be really beneficial for us moving forward.
So we're looking for some volunteers, and we can work this out pretty smartly too. If we can think about this, everybody as well, like landscape conversion, for Measure J, I tried getting a walking path in around JOJ. We weren't able to get it, but hey, now we got to do landscape conversion. What if we can squeeze that in somehow to get that worked in, so just little things, little forethought. I'd like to get 2 commissioners on each ad hoc committee. If I see Susie, your hand's up. Sorry, I'm not trying to ignore you. I got the whole thing I'm trying to scroll through. So if I see your hand up, I might call it a little later. Susie, I see your hand up. You got a question?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna volunteer for a master plan because I have professional experience with land use issues with my job. So I would be more than happy to volunteer for the master plan.
Awesome. So with the landscape, dog park, master plan, pickleball, and park enhancements. I see we got Susie on master. I see Michael, is your hand up, sir?
Yes.
Go right ahead, my friend.
Okay, for the landscape conversions. And to continue with the pickleball?
Yes, sir. You want to go with pickleball?
Yes.
Oh, you're a brave man. Yes, sir. There, I want to do pickleball. I see John. I see your hands up.
I'm already on the dog park, so I'll stay on the dog park because it's important to me. I would love to be a part of the master plan. I certainly don't want to be part of the pickleball because my tennis buddies will hate me, even though I do also play pickleball. But how many people do you want for each?
We'd like to get at least 2 commissioners per, but the master plan is a big.
Probably one that needs more.
Yeah, the master plan's large. Park enhancements, everybody can really be on. That's something where you're just looking at your day-to-day park. What are we doing to try to improve our parks? And the landscape conversion needs to be people that are willing to hit the ground running, because this is going to be a couple meetings per month, for over the next, I would say, couple months to get this going so we can have it done for council in time.
Gotcha. So like I said, I'm happy to stay on the dog park, and then I would, wherever you need me. I'm interested in the master plan for sure, but I'll do whatever you need.
All right. I got you down on master. So I'm just going to, there's no problem with having more people than not enough. So landscape conversions, I'm going to hop on that one because I'm good at reading plans and doing all that and trying to forethought. I'm okay with that. So I'll do the landscape. We got 2 for the landscape, which is good. Dog park, we got John. Now we do have a couple members out right now. I know Caldonado is
And
not
Spellman.
feeling good, and Spellman, yes, ma'am. So maybe we can pick them for one of these. I'm thinking Johnny would be great with the dog park. He's actually, his neighborhood is right there at Demuth, which we're getting ready to do a huge new dog park there. And it'd be great to see that community get involved, and he's right there in that community. So Pickleball, we got Michael. Anybody else want to jump on the pickleball? That's going to be another big thing because we got a large sum coming in. That's going to be a whole facility being built, a lot of meetings, a lot of back and forth, especially with season coming in. We're going to have a lot of opinions, and it's going to have quite a few meetings there. So does that strike anybody's fan? I'm sorry, I see Dieter and Michael both have their hand up. I apologize, guys. Like I said, I'm having to scroll through and find the hands.
No, I wasn't raising my hand for pickleball. I was raising my hand for park enhancements and master plan.
Smart man. All right, Dieter. I got him on park enhancements and master.
I have my hand up. I was looking at park enhancements and master plan.
All right. I'm thinking the master plan really should be almost everybody because that seems to be quite important to. I mean, it is. That's going to shape the future of where we're going to go with Parks and Recs, But we need to make sure that it's moving forward and people can do this. Pickleball, Michael, I know you got it. Who else we gonna throw in there? Who else we got? Let's do Chris Spellman. He would be great for it. He's out in the community. He wants to get out there and reach out. Chris Spellman. He just volunteered for pickleball. I'll give my friend a call and let him know. So looks like we got a few for each one. Anybody else interested in any of the ad hoc committees here? I got Michael for landscape conversion, and I'll do it as well. So
Want me to review the list for you?
What's that? Yes,
Do you want me
please.
to go through the list? Okay, so right now for landscape conversion, we have Finland and Alcorn. For dog park, we have Moralia and Colodonato. For master plan, we have Meyer, Moralia, Crawford, and Diaz. For pickleball, we have Finland and Spellman. And for enhancements, we have Crawford and Diaz.
Yes, I'd like to get on enhancements too. I'd like to do landscape, master, and enhancements, but I'm available to do whatever. Because I'm always out in the parks. We can use.
Okay, so for enhancements, Crawford, Diaz, and Alcorn.
Cool. Yeah, I think that sounds good.
So we have this as an action item on tonight's agenda. So we would need a motion and a second, and then we'd call for a formal vote.
Yes, ma'am. So if you guys heard that with that, I need a motion to approve, a second, and then we need to take a roll call vote just to approve these positions.
Motion to approve?
Thank you, Michael.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Dieter. Can I ask a quick question? I'm not trying to pause everything right here. Who do we have on as Tabitha Richards?
Oh, Tabby is our assistant for Teresa Gallivan.
Oh, sorry, Tabitha. My apologies.
So Tabby, we've been working with on our landscape conversion project.
Awesome. Sounds good. I was gonna volunteer her too.
Sorry, you can't. She's already volunteered on landscape conversions with us. All right, I'll call for the roll call. Chair Alcorn,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawford,
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
Commissioner Finland,
Yes.
Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
and Commissioner Moralia.
Yes.
Okay, so motion carries with Commissioners Colodonato and Spellman excused. Thank you.
Great job, everybody. Okay, with that being done, let's see. Where we at now? Sorry, the bottom of the PowerPoint cut off for me on my screen.
We have our commissioner and ad hoc updates.
Oh, yes, Commissioner Ad Hoc Updates. I don't know if you had any ad hoc meetings. We had the month off, but is there any ad hoc meeting updates? Our commissioner desires?
May I just chime in?
Yes, sir.
We had a meeting for the Pickleball Ad Hoc Committee in recent times. We had one also during the month of August. And we're going to have another one this forthcoming Wednesday, 2 days from now. And we're making progress in terms of different areas. There's been various discussions with regard to signage and where we're going with that in a futuristic sense. And those on the committee have submitted ideas, which have been sent to Yvonne's office for review and assessment, just to give us a perspective on where we're going with signage. There's been previous discussions with regard to need for wind shields, entranceway safety, and we also discussed financial components and developments with an eye toward funding that's been secured, and with an eye toward 2023 and 2024, and where we're looking to go as we slowly, step by step, make progress in creating enhancements for the pickleball community. So that's a very quick summation, and certainly if Yvonne or others want to share, that please do. But that's just a quick update on what's happening with Pickleball ad hoc. And as I said, we'll be having another meeting on Wednesday of this week for further developments on that agenda.
Thank you, Michael, for continuing to work on that. Appreciate that. Any other ad hoc updates? All right. Any commissioner updates? Anything? No? Hope everybody had a good month off.
I've got some comments for commissioners' comments.
Yes, sir. Is that where we're at right now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. We threw them together. Sorry. So yes, go
Yeah,
ahead.
we
Dean.
did.
I just want to the packet we received about the overseeding and the turf conversion. On the third slide, we missed some of the parks on there. Desert Highland Park, Baristo Park, the Wellness Park as well. I just want to point out that we do have events in our park, family gatherings, birthdays, church groups use the park. We had our Juneteenth celebration there. We also have Borrego Health with the mobile clinic and Fine Food Bank. So I just want to point that out to make sure that whoever's on that ad hoc committee, that we don't forget about some of the other parks as well. All of our parks weren't listed on there. And then also the youth football that practices at Baristo Field, it was brought to my attention that they relocated to Demuth for overseeding. And once again, they're practicing on a baseball field and they're football. So I don't know why pickleball and tennis can't share. But I just want to make sure that we're communicating with the groups about overseeding, because the football group stated that they weren't informed until the week prior that they had to relocate, and they've been practicing there since early August or July. So just want to make sure that we're communicating with all those groups.
Yeah, absolutely. We were a little bit delayed, I understand, this year in determining the reseeding schedule, but we will absolutely make sure that we are communicating as far in advance as possible when we have those schedule changes.
Awesome. Thank you, Vaughn. Any other commissioner comments or anything? All right. With that being said, I think we're at a motion. Can we get a motion to close?
Motion?
Thank you, Michael. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, John. With that being said, we're going to adjourn at 6:53. Thank you very much, everybody. It was a good meeting. I know it's a lot. We're going in a new direction this time, and it's really good to see. I like everybody on the same page. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Yvonne. This was wonderful.
Thank
Very
you.
streamlined.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you. Good.
Thank you, everybody.